First thing I want to start with the FV215b 183 is a tank that is very, very slow. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Has an incredibly huge circle, low accuracy. At range and close range, it's very derpy gun, as you may know already. It doesn't have many strengths other than the high damage. It doesn't have camo. The armor is unreliable, although it does work with tier 8. The first thing I want to show you is the firepower. We have average damage of 1150 on normal round. Average penetration 310, 300. You reload pretty slow, 30 seconds. You can bring it up to 27 with the config you will see later. Aiming time 3.40. This is the biggest problem. Gun dispersion at 100 meters is 0.40, which is very inaccurate gun. So you will see why we do different stuff for improving this. Mobility wise, this tank is super slow. A turbo can be a good choice, like the experimental turbo, which reduces also the dispersion and helps you also traverse and turret speed, turret rotation speed, which is great. It's also a choice. The total weight 60 tons, engine power 846, specific power 14 horsepower per ton, top speed 34, reverse speed 12, traverse speed 24, gun traverse speed 16. As you can see, turret traverse angle is minus 45, so it's not full rotation, which would improve this tank a lot. If you could actually make it angled like this, you could come out of buildings and take shots, but you cannot. So the tank only turns like 45 degrees, so you have to be in diagonal when you take shots. Concealment 644, very bad. You can get to 16. You will see with the cruise skills. The best part about the stats is the average damage. As you can see from the stats, it's not a sniper. It is not armored enough. The hit points are 2000. Armor is 152, which for some tier 8s could be a problem for the hull, while for the turret 254 it's also a problem if you're shooting, for example, normal rounds with tier 8, but it's very unreliable, and yeah, you don't expect to tank too much with it. While for the high explosive ammo, you can see here average damage goes up to 1750, and it's a great feeling when you delete some mediums from the game, fully send them back to the lobby. Throughout the video, I kept calling these high explosive rounds heat. It's not heat, it's high explosive. My bad for that. But I didn't want to go through it because most of you already are aware of the difference. As you can see, the stats here, the best setup, what you see on the screen, you can use the device, the experimental aiming device, and the vents plus the enhanced gun lane drive. Alternatives obviously are gun rammer and so on, but this is what I recommend you based on how I experimented. You can also go improve hardening to playing in the cities, but again, the setup is still a personal thing. I recommend you my setup to try it out. It's like a hybrid sort of setup. It works at range a bit better, and it works close range as well. Do not rely on your camo. It's very low, and every time you shoot, you must be sure you have cover. Try to always angle like a bit side scraping, like 20-30 degrees angle. Take your shot and instantly go back in cover, maybe straightening your tank on the wall. Usually I use buildings with bushes next to them is probably the best way to play. Regarding cruise skills, I strongly recommend you Deadeye on this one, just for the reason it depends a lot what target you shoot, so you definitely need Deadeye. Other than that, classic. I put a lot of camo on it. It does save you. At medium range, if you have a bush or a double bush, the camo saves you. So I also went for camo. If you play in the cities more, which is doable, if you go hardening and turbo maybe, or hardening and rammer and whatever you want vent, if you do that, you can change the camo with repairs first. I went for a hybrid setup here. These are the skills I went for. Quick aiming device and snapshot are incredibly important because your aiming time is 243 with my setup, full upgraded. So you have 3 points something, 3.45, I don't remember exactly, but it's an incredible amount of time to aim. So focus on making your shot count. Focus on making your shot be as accurate as it can be. Otherwise, you will lose a lot of time cursing. Regarding the ammo, always use the heat when you are sure you have a chance to penetrate. Do not go with heat, for example, on a mouse. If you see a mouse or a Tasherate or I don't know, a super heavy tank, something that you know you have no chance. If you see a guy with showing you only the turret, for example, a can opener, you don't want to shoot the explosive. You will not penetrate. maybe sometimes you're lucky, but you would need to be above and shoot them in the commander hatch. Other than that, use APs. I have 4 APs with me. You can use more. Those are decent for shooting lower plate or side turrets or even weak spots. But again, you're not accurate. Usually, I avoid shooting the heavy tanks or the super heavy, and I take targets that I know I can destroy. It's a crucial thing about this tank. Do not take your shot on the first tank you see, and take your shot when you know you have a chance to penetrate. If you're gonna go explosive against mouse, it's gonna stop you for 27 seconds with your reload, and you're not gonna be able to do anything, and you will fall in depression when you see a thing. If you see a leopard and you have hit, it's great. It just takes a bit of thinking before you shoot, since it's punishing if you wait 27. If you fail 2 shots in a row, it's 1 minute, and there are battles that last 2-3 minutes. So think about it. For field upgrades, I'm showing you right now. You can use these this setup. The tank feels really bad until you get this new gears aiming system, which is the second last level. I gave up, as you can see, the breach tweaking, which gives you 3% reload, or 5%, 3% I think. But trust me, that is the best choice, because the aiming time is the biggest issue on this tank, and this improves it a lot. The Deathstar is a really hard tank to play. It's not a tank for beginners, definitely. It's a tank that will either give you a game with 0 damage. It's a tank you take for like, hey, let's have some fun and get some people deleted from the game. It's trollish. It doesn't fit the meta, I think, and it's kind of, I don't see it as a tank that you should spend bonds on. If you want to have some laughs with your friends and stuff and delete people, and you have missions, for example, in campaigns where you need to deal 1,000 damage to unspotted people or stuff like that, you can go with it. Or you need to deal 1,500 to a guy that is stunned, or gun that is tracked, a guy that is tracked, for example. This is a good time to do your missions with. But I do not recommend you to, like, it's not a strong tank. You can go on skills, website skill for LTU. You can also see the review on his videos. They're great. In my opinion, this tank is kind of depressing to play, but it can be fun. So that's my advice about it.